Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we're going to make vanilla wafers, and this is what they look like. This cookie is sweet with just the right of vanilla flavor, and they are wonderfully tender and crisp. It's hard to eat just one. So the first thing you need to do is to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 180 degrees Celsius. You will need actually 2 baking sheets. I've lined mine with parchment paper, but you could lightly butter them or spray them with one of those nonstick sprays. So for the batter, if you have a stand mixer, use your paddle attachment. You could use a hand mixer, or really this batter, you could mix it by hand just in a large bowl with a wooden spoon. The first thing you will need is a half a cup, 113 grams of butter. Have your butter at room temperature. I'm using unsalted. I prefer the flavor and I like to regulate the amount of salt in my recipes, but you could use salted butter if that's what you prefer. So I'm just going to beat my butter just until it gets nice and smooth. Okay. And as always, when you're making any kind of batter, periodically scrape the sides and the bottom of your bowl. You want to make sure everything gets mixed together. And now, like I said, these are nice and sweet. So you will need 1 cup, 200 grams of granulated white sugar. And then I'm going to add vanilla, since we're making a vanilla wafer. I'm adding 2 teaspoons, which is 8 grams of pure vanilla extract. Now that's about double the amount of vanilla that we would normally use in a cookie batter, but it just gives it a really nice vanilla flavor, not overpowering. So now I'm going to beat this on medium-high speed for maybe a couple minutes. I want to mix everything together, and I want to get a little bit of air in the batter. Okay, I'll skip that. So this is what you're looking for. Lightens up a little. Everything's all mixed together. So next, you need to add 1 large egg, and have your egg at room temperature. A large egg is about 50 grams. And then I'm going to add also 1 tablespoon of cream. I'm using a heavy cream. You could use a light cream. That's going to add to the tenderness of the cookie. I'm just going to beat that in on medium speed. Okay, that's easy enough. So now for our dry ingredients, I have in a bowl 1 cup, which is 130 grams of all-purpose flour. You may know that as plain flour. I'm also going to add a half a cup, 60 grams of cake flour. Cake flour is a low gluten flour, and it's going to help give this, add to the tenderness of this cookie. Now, I know some people find cake flour hard to find, so you could just substitute that instead with the all-purpose flour. And then I'm adding a half a teaspoon, 2 grams of baking powder, a 1/4 of a teaspoon, 1 gram of baking soda. The baking soda is going to help with the crispness of the cookie. And then a 1/4 of a teaspoon, 1 gram of salt. And you could sift the ingredients together, or I'm just whisking. You just want to make sure all that's mixed together really good. As you can see, this is not a hard cookie to make, and it's so good. So now I'm going to add that, and then I'm going to start on low speed. You don't want the flour coming up in your face, and then I'll increase the speed until just until everything's all mixed together. Okay. That's it. Now I'm going to form and bake my cookies right away. If you found your batter is really soft, you could cover and refrigerate it. Or, you could cover and just keep it if you don't want to bake all the cookies off at once. So I do have a little flour on the sides of my bowl. I'm just going to mix that in by hand. And we're just making little cookies. I know normally I make large ones, but today we're going to make small ones. So we're only going to use like a teaspoon of batter for each cookie. I actually, if you have an ice cream scoop like this, it's a teaspoon. It's really good. Some people like to put the batter in a piping bag and then just pipe out their cookies, but I like my ice cream scoop. That way I know everyone is the same size. So we can fit, because we're making little cookies here, we're going to be able to fit a lot. I find like 5 across and probably 7 rows. So just like that. Leave a little space because they do spread out. And for my last one, there we go. So now what you want to do is fix them up and then just lightly flatten them just a bit. I've already done most of them, so you won't have to watch me do all that. So there we go. Now to bake these cookies, everyone's oven is a little different. I like them crisp all the way through. So I find about 15 minutes, they'll puff up and kind of flatten down. They will spread out, they'll be nice and golden brown. But if you want them like more crisp on the edges but soft and chewy in the center, you would probably do them a couple minutes less. But I like them crisp all the way through. So about 15 minutes, rotate your baking sheet front to back about halfway through baking. Okay, so our vanilla wafers are done. As you can see, they're golden brown. And put your baking sheet on a wire rack. We're going to let them cool a few minutes, and then I'm going to use my spatula to transfer them over to a wire rack to finish cooling. Now, I did misspeak. I actually did 4 across and 6 rows, so 24 cookies per pan. So what I'm going to do, let these cool. I'm going to bake off another sheet of my cookies, and then when we come back, we will try one. So our cookies are nice and cool. Let's try one. I don't know whether you can hear that, but they are so crispy and yet tender. I just love that. And the flavor, they're sweet, but I don't find them overly sweet, with just the right of vanilla flavor. It seems like a lot of vanilla, but really, this is a lot of cookies we're making. So actually, what I made is, you can get about 60 2-inch cookies. That's 5 centimeters, so lots of cookies. They are delicious on their own, you know, maybe with your tea or coffee or a glass of milk. But they're also, I like to serve them with, you know, if you have a fruit salad or a bowl of ice cream or something like that. They're just the perfect cookie, I think, and you have to make these. So until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joyofbaking.com.